You're listening to Kate Palmer from sparkletart.com, and today I'm going to show you how to create a night sky effect using Copic markers and a couple of pens. Now, I created this as a journal page, but you can easily use the exact same technique in any artwork, whether it's a card, journal page, or anything else. Now, I'm using Express It blending paper. I've just taken a page out of my Express It blending journal. I find if I'm doing anything 3D or a little messy, it's easier to take the paper out. I've done a very quick outline of the area I'd like to colour. I'm going to make this 3D later with some paper. To begin with, I'm using 2 of the mint coloured markers just to add a little background. I'm really not trying very hard to blend. I don't really want scrappy lines, but as you can see, it's pretty rough. So this was BG13 and BG11. I'm then moving on to B69 and B79 to add a little bit of depth and darkness. Now again, not trying to blend, just adding layers of colour. Now the really cool thing here is it's totally random and completely abstract. You could use a reference photo if you like, but I found it kind of fun just to sort of play and slap colours all over the piece of paper. Now all I was trying to do is make something interesting to look at. So it didn't need to be perfect, it didn't need to look like anything in particular. For the moment, it's just a rough honeycomb shape with a whole lot of colours slapped down in the middle. Now I'm adding some pink in here, RV06 and RV09, just to add a little pop, because if you have a look at those beautiful night sky photos from the Hubble telescope, there's not just black and blue in there, there's all these amazing colours. So I wanted to add that in mine as well. Now the pink really stands out at this point, so I'm toning it down with BG49. I'm adding that in as another dark colour, just to sort of help balance things out a bit. Now I'm going over some of my other colours with this BG49. Again, I'm not attempting to blend, I'm just trying to overlay the colours so you don't have to have too much skill to pull off something that ends up looking really pretty. Now I'm going over and darkening some of those areas just to add a little bit more colour depth. And I'm going back to my one of my first colours of B79 just to add a little bit more of that indigo blue, sort of the night sky effect. Now I'm adding a few details with the B79. So I'm helping sort of make the outlines stand out a bit more and adding a few little wiggles and squiggles just to make it look a little bit more interesting to look at. Now it's at this point I'm going to start adding some finer details and doing a little bit of additional colour just so that my image doesn't look quite so washed out. Laying all of those colours over each other, especially because they're not from the same colour families, can sometimes wash the colours out a little. So I'm just going to grab all of the colours I've already used and add little bits of extra colour just to darken the image and to make it a little bit more bold, a little bit more vibrant. I'm also going to use the very fine tips of these beautiful sketch markers to add little fine details. And as I get towards finishing darkening my areas of colour, I'm going to go back and use some of my very, very darkest colours and kind of add very fine lines between each area of colour just to add a little bit more detail and a little bit more interest to this. Because I know what the next step is and I want to make sure my background is beautiful and vibrant and dark so that what I'm about to put on top really stands out. So just sort of randomly swap between the colours, darkening areas as you go, keep it really loose and really random. Again, you're not trying to blend, you're just trying to get a really nice depth of colour. So just sort of go backwards and forwards until you're happy with how it looks. Now for me, I love how it looks. I have a little bit of light, I've got a little bit of pink, a little bit of sort of, really yummy kind of pops of colour in here. And the aqua colours on that background with those mint and the duck egg blue is really sort of making it look interesting and cloud-like. Now, adding those little details in sort of makes it look like, you get those clouds out in the galaxy that you can see in the photos. Now my last step, I'm going to put a very quick paper mask over the top of my image because I'm about to splatter paint all over it. And while this is horribly scary, it's so much fun. Now I'm using an extra fine Molotow paint marker in white and a clear wink of Stella marker. And what I'm going to do is prime the tips of both of these so they're a little bit more inky than usual, or a bit more painty. And then I'm going to tap it over a pencil, all over my design. Now, the less paint you have on the nib, the finer the little paint splatters are going to be. So I'm going to start with some very fine paint splatters. And then what I'm going to do is over prime the nib. So that means I'm going to pump it a few times to get more paint than really necessary into that nib. And what I'm then doing is splattering that over the top of my design. And what that will give me is paint splatters of varying thicknesses. And it just makes it look a bit more interesting. If everything was uniform and the same size, it wouldn't look quite so good. But you can see even here, those paint splatters, because I've got that such dark, interesting background, are really, really standing out. And it's just so simple. Now, admittedly, you could make a huge mess. You could completely ruin it. It's sort of part of the excitement. Just go gently, go slowly. Try it on a piece of scrap paper first, just to sort of make sure that you're going to get the effect you're after, and then go for it. It's so much fun, it really is. Now you can see here why I wanted that background so dark, so that the white would really pop. And that Molotow paint pen looks fantastic. But I'm going to add a little bit of sparkle as well by tapping the wink of Stella marker, just like I did with the Molotow paint pen, over my background. And it's turned out so great. Now you can't really see it when it's flat, but as I tilt it, see all that sparkle? It really does help it look just like a night sky. So I was really happy with this. Now to finish off my page, I'm then going to make a permanent mask so I can peel back the edges so it looks like you can see the night sky through the paper. And I'm just creating this out of scrap paper. Now I didn't want it too chunky, so I've made sure it's quite flat. So I hope you've enjoyed this idea for creating a night sky effect with your Copic markers and a couple of paint pens. I'll be back soon with more crafty ideas. Bye!